Hey, good morning, everybody. And since we're reading from John 20 today, I want to wish you a blessed and happy Easter. I realize it's technically not Easter Sunday, but I think it's good that we read this passage on a day that's not Easter Sunday because it helps us remember that, yes, this was a real day in history. And Jesus' death and resurrection is the central focus of our faith. Not just one day, but every day. And we have hope because Jesus went to the cross for our sin and we're broken people and we need a Savior. And Jesus died on the cross in my place and in your place. He died to pay the price for the sin that I deserve and we deserve to pay, but could not. He died to reconnect us with God, and he died to prove that there was no power in the earth, nothing so powerful that his death and resurrection could not conquer. He even defeated death itself. And he died. His promise is to us for a forever relationship with him that is true now and even in our time after we're off, not on this earth anymore. John gives us one of the most vivid accounts of the resurrection. And it's so vivid because he was actually there. He is actually describing his own experience as he discovered Jesus was not in the tomb. He gives some very precise details. He tells us about how Mary Magdalene was actually the first one there and how she ran to get Peter and John, and how then Peter and John ran to the tomb. John quickly tells us that he was the first one there. And he looked inside the tomb, and then Peter actually went inside the tomb. And then Jesus tells us about a conversation that Mary had with this man who at first she didn't recognize, and it turns out to be Jesus. We want to pick up in verse 11 of chapter 20. John writes, he says, Mary was standing outside the tomb crying, and as she wept, she stooped and looked in. She saw two white-robed angels, one sitting at the head and the other at the foot of the place where the body of Jesus had been lying. Dear woman, why are you crying? The angel asked her. Because they have taken away my Lord, she replied, and I don't know where they've put him. She turned to leave and saw someone standing there. It was Jesus, but she didn't recognize him. Dear woman, why are you crying? Jesus asked her. Who are you looking for? She thought he was the gardener. Sir, she said, if you have taken him away, tell me where you have put him, and I will go and get him. Mary, Jesus said. And she turned to him and cried out, Rabboni, which is Hebrew for teacher. Now, like all of Jesus' followers, Mary was confused and she was terrified, at least at first. At first, she didn't even recognize that she was talking to Jesus. She was in the dark. She thinks her situation is absolutely hopeless. Jesus died, and dead people just don't get up and walk away from their death. Well, then we read that Jesus calls her by name. And she recognizes his voice, and the darkness is lifted, and she sees him face to face. This is so powerful because and I think it's vital for all of us to remember as we face life, the circumstances of life. And just the question for you today is there something in your life that maybe has you in the dark? Is it a disappointing situation? Something that's just not happening the way you want it to? Or maybe it's happened and it's the way that it happened is not the way you had expected. Maybe it's a loss in your life, or maybe there's a medical challenge, or maybe it's something that you've done, something that you are sure that God could never love you or forgive you for what you've done. Life is hard. Life is hard. Someone or something has disappointed you, and if they haven't disappointed you now, it's sure to happen sometime. But hope starts with knowing that God created us. You and I are unique people. And he loves us no matter what we've done. And through the cross, he offers us forgiveness. Our lives have meaning and they have direction. It doesn't mean that we know the future but we can be connected to someone who does know the future, someone who gives us hope, and trusting in someone who does not change. Hope is knowing Jesus. Better yet, it's knowing that Jesus knows us. Jesus knows you. Mary knew Jesus was the one who called her by name. He knew her personally, and he knew exactly what she needed. And Jesus knows you that well too. He knows absolutely everything about you. He knows everything about you, and he loves you and does not want you to be in a hopeless situation, because, my friends, you and I cannot live without hope. You and I can't live without hope. But knowing Jesus is the source of real hope, and he asks you to trust your life to him. Have an amazing day.
If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.